The 2022 Local Government Cooperation Award goes to Henry and Randolph counties for their shared county engineering services. Officials in Henry and Randolph County have collaborated to share a county engineer. This unique circumstance is the first in our state. Randolph County needed a county engineer, so they worked with their neighbor, Henry County, to ensure their needs were met.
Randolph County needed help as far as engineering, particularly with bridges and culverts. And the superintendent over there usually handles the roads, so I was, kind of working toward that. But they needed one awfully bad, and so I happened to meet the president of the board over there, Mike Wickersham, and he was saying how they could use one, and I looked up the statute, and the reimbursement for two counties is really pretty good, $40,000 apiece, if they share an engineer. So I thought, that's a cost savings to both counties. I mean, Randolph, as far as I know, I'm the first engineer that Randolph's had. So I got the two together and went from there.
Our county has over 800 miles of road, over 200 bridges, and we don't have a large population, so we don't have a large tax base, so we suffer from funding for highway and bridges, and especially for an engineer. There's a reason we've never had one, and this stipend from the state went a long way to convince us that this would be a good idea. And SJCA convinced me that it would ultimately save us money, and I think we're seeing that happen.
The idea to share a county engineer sounded good to both counties, but they would have to see how it would work and if it was financially sound to do so.
Well, it came to us that Randolph County needed an engineer pretty badly, and Joe Copeland, our engineer, was approached, and they did some research and found out that it could be reimbursed from the state, and actually Randolph could reimburse and Henry could reimburse, and it was going to be a net savings, so it seemed like a win-win to us. From a council standpoint, budgetarily, it was going to be a net savings for the county.
It was something we needed to do. We talked about doing it, but with a low assessed valued county as we are, it gets hard to get the high caliber professionals that you would need. And with over 800 miles of roads and 200 bridges, we can't keep up with what our engineer Joe does for us now. So to have him as a part-time and shared with Henry County works well that way, because if we had that position on full-time, we would have projects stacked to the ceiling, and we still can't keep up with what he does for us part-time. So I would encourage all counties that could collaborate with another county to do it, and encourage the state to make more stipends out there for this type of activity to help these rural counties of Indiana.
The stipend from the state legislature helped both counties see this arrangement as a win-win. Both counties said this wouldn't have been possible without that stipend from the state.
You take most engineers, inexperienced or not, in today's climate, could go out anywhere in the private sector and make way more than most counties can afford to pay them. To me, without that stipend, it made it almost impossible for us to keep, especially a qualified engineer. To me, doing this, and we can take Joe out of the equation, it just came down to, it made sense to be able to keep an engineer, because there was a lot of extra consulting fees that would come into play that we would have to spend if we didn't have an engineer, where having an engineer saves that bucket of money, so to speak, that you don't have to shell out. So it makes it a lot better.
Right, he saved $134,000 on one project doing a bridge. And I thought that was tremendously great savings for this county. The counties don't get enough money to begin with to do their bridges and their roads and their culverts. So anything that can help, this is a big plus that I would definitely say is going to be very beneficial to counties if they'll look at the whole picture.
While this agreement is still new, both counties are already seeing positive outcomes and feel it is a success for both the residents of Henry and Randolph County.
This project really worked out, as I see it, as a win-win-win because Joe, I think, was underpaid for as good a good an engineer as he is, and this allowed us to pay him more money, which I think he very well deserved. And obviously, Randolph County benefited, and it's been pretty seamless.
I do want to give kudos to the Henry County Auditor's Office and the Randolph County's Auditor's Office, because the easy part was for everybody to come up with an agreement. And I'm not saying it's a difficult, but the day-to-day, the actual taking care of who gets billed what, how that all functions and all works, falls on both of the auditor's office. And why we don't see that, they work very hard to make sure that that is seamless and works the way it's supposed to. And they are kind of the unsung people in this.
County officials from both counties want to offer support for those that are considering this type of an agreement or shared services.
I've already talked to some of our neighboring counties that either did not have an engineer or have not replaced a retiring engineer. And I've just gone to them and said, hey, this is great for us if you can find that right person. And quite frankly, there's a lot of pressure and stress on the engineer, especially when you start throwing grant money in, and it's just one less headache. And so I'm already talking to our neighboring counties, saying how great this is, and I think they're kind of approaching their council and commissioners saying, hey, Randolph County and Henry County is doing this, why can't we? So I think the process is already started in our general area. We just got to get the word out statewide.
To learn more about Henry and Randolph County, please visit their websites.